don't need any props today. Maybe something under your knees if you're like to baby, if you've got knee issues and you want something under there. This mic occasionally cuts out. I feel like it's the best quality mic, but if you are holding a pose for a really long time, it's because we moved on and my mic's gone out. So please just like holler at me and I'll get it back on. And also, if you missed that, there's a plumber like banging around. So if water falls from the ceiling, I'm sorry, I'm gonna run away and deal with it. But hopefully we're all gonna just be in yoga land for an hour and it's great. Cool, I shouldn't clap right in front of my mic. Hey, let's find our spot on our mat and we'll start in child's pose. So big toes together, knees open wide, hips sink back towards your heels, arms reach out in front of us. We'll start a little active by pressing our palms of our hands into the ground, really pushing your butt back towards your heels. And then releasing that pressure, trying to just relax your head down towards the earth or onto the earth if it's already there. Spending a couple moments here to let go of things that aren't right now, right here. Trying to keep our focus on our body, our breath. Just a little window in the day to spend on us. On an inhale, we'll roll on up to kneeling. We're gonna bring our thighs close together. So we're just sitting in a normal kneeling position like this. If it doesn't work for you, sit however feels good. We're gonna do a couple sort of Bikram inspired bellows breaths. So we'll interlace our fingers and then our elbows are gonna go up by our ears. And then we're gonna inhale our elbows together and gaze up at the ceiling. And then exhale, elbows come up by your ears, your head looks down. Inhale, elbows together, up at the ceiling. Exhale, gaze down, elbows come up. So we'll do some pretty big, gentle, slow, funny inhale, exhales here. The knuckles on your chins can be just a little gentle pressure, maybe getting a little bit of a back bend here. So each time we might look a little bit more out to the ceiling, a little bit farther behind us. Just using that little squeeze of our elbows together to think about really big bellow inhale and exhales here. We'll do 2 more of these. And letting that go, we'll come to tabletop, all fours. Hands walk out in front of us. Our knees come a little bit wider if they were close together. Grounding down through the palms of our hands. We'll come through a cat-cow a few times. It's not yoga without a couple cat-cows. These can be at your own pace. But again, thinking about those nice big bellow breaths we were doing before. So maybe a deep inhale as your tummy sinks down and an exhale as you round your tummy. If you intuitively did the reverse, that's fine. Whatever big inhale and exhale linked with your movement as we flow through these. Thinking about flowing all the way from the top of your head to the tip of your tailbone. So maybe your head curls all the way under to look at your navel, or all the way up towards the ceiling as your tummy drops down. And leaving that, we'll find a neutral tabletop again. And then curling our toes under, our hips are gonna shoot up high for our first downward dog of the class. From here, we can pedal one heel towards the ground and the other. Some nice slow kind of steps back to side. And then rising up onto tiptoes, we'll lower both heels towards the ground. It's fine if they don't reach it. Sinking our heart through our biceps. Hips going nice and high towards the ceiling. One more big inhale here. And exhale. Inhale, come forward to the top of a push-up, high plank. And on an exhale, we're gonna keep our butts up high, but lower our knees, our chest, and our chin to the earth. So we're in kind of this funny caterpillar zigzag position. And then we'll let that go, sneaking our tummy down so we're laying flat on our stomach. From here, we're going to lift our palms just a little bit off the earth and do a little back bend, some sort of baby cobra. So you're just picking your head and shoulders off the ground in whatever ability you have without using your arms to do this upper back bend. And then exhaling, we'll lower our face back down towards the ground. Our palms will find the earth. We'll curl our toes under, lift our butts up high, downward facing dog, pushing into your hands. Nice hinge at your hips, tailbone up towards the ceiling. Inhale, we'll come to the top of a push-up high plank again, and we're gonna do that knees, chest, chin lower again. So knees, chest, chin to the mat for this little funny zigzag butt up high thing, and then lowering all the way to our stomach, laying down, untucking our toes. We're gonna do a little bit higher of a cobra. So you can use your hands just a little bit for your back bend this time. So pushing, maybe you can look at the wall in front of you now. And then letting our face come back down to the earth, curl toes under, butts up high, downward facing dog, pushing into your hands. Let's make sure our fingers are spread nice and wide here. Our pointer fingers are parallel, pointing towards the front of our mat or whatever space you're doing your yoga at. Inhale and exhale. Inhale forward to the top of a push-up. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin down to the earth again. Lowering all the way down to our stomachs, unflipping our toes. We're gonna come to Sphinx pose. So our forearms are gonna slide onto the ground underneath us. Our elbows are right underneath our shoulders. We can gaze out in front of us or maybe up a little bit, finding space between our shoulders and our ears. A little squeeze of the glutes can help if you've got some low back weakened in this pose. You can always stay a little bit lower too, depending on how Sphinx feels in your body. And we'll lower down to our stomachs again, curling toes under, palms find by our shoulders to push into them, hips up high, downward facing dog. Inhaling and exhaling here. Let's make sure we're spinning our elbow pits towards the front of our mat. What is that? Just some external rotation in the top of our arms. Inhale to the top of a push-up. From here, you can do your knees, chest, chin down, or we can scoot a little bit farther forward and lower into chaturanga, which is a low plank. So our shoulders staying stacked above our elbows. Then we'll unflip our toes, lower all the way down to our tummies. Our hands will slide forward a little bit, and we'll come to a higher cobra or a seal. So our hips, our upper legs are on the ground here. We're doing a back bend that's just a little bit deeper. You can definitely have some weight in your hands. If you've got a lot of range of motion, you can open your elbows up or think about that, pushing towards that position. And lowering our face down towards the mat, we'll curl our toes under, pressing into our palms, hips up high, downward facing dog again. This time, let's think about our toes. Are your toes spread nice and wide? Are they squeezing the earth or a little bit relaxed? Let's go for a little relaxed here. And inhaling forward to the top of a push-up high plank. We're gonna lower down through chaturanga, so scooting a little bit farther forward, coming down till our shoulders are right above our elbows. You can flip your toes and come on up to an up dog, so our legs and pelvis stay off the ground the whole time. Or you can go to one of those other options we've done. Here in our up dog, we've got nice strong arms pushing into the earth, squeezing our glutes to protect our low back. And exhaling, moving forward and back, we'll come into our downward facing dog. Exhale here, and on an inhale, we're gonna inhale our right leg up high to the sky behind us for a three-legged dog. On an exhale, we'll bring that right leg forward to a lunge, so your right leg steps forward between your hands. We'll lower our back left knee down, Untuck our left toes, and then we're gonna hook our thumbs together and raise our thumbs up towards the ceiling for a low crescent lunge. Hanging out here, we'll think about sinking our pelvis a little bit farther into the earth, maybe bringing our biceps a little bit farther back past our ears. Inhale here, exhale, arms come down, hands find the floor on either side of our front foot. Our back toes tuck under, and then we shoot ourselves forward to a forward fold at the top of the mat. You can walk that foot in however you want to get to a forward fold here. From here, with a gentle bend in our knees, we're going to roll ourselves all the way up to standing, and then circle our arms up overhead, gaze up to look at the ceiling. Exhale, circle our arms back down all the way to the ground. Inhale, our hands find our shins or our thighs, flat back, lift and lengthen the top of your head away from you. Exhale, forward fold, our hands find the earth. Our right leg's gonna step back. Our right knee will find the earth. Our right toes are gonna unhook. We'll hook our thumbs and come to that crescent lunge on the other side. Inhaling here, exhaling, trying to straighten our arms, pulling them a little bit behind our shoulders, sinking our pelvis down. Inhale here, exhale, arms come down to frame the front foot, curl the back toe under. Our front leg's gonna step back, shoot back, however you get it there, to the top of a push-up. We'll flow through some version of vinyasa. So low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, straight to downward facing dog, knees, chest, chin, some variation of that. In downward dog, again, we're pressing into the palms of our hands. Our fingers are spread wide. Our elbow pits are shooting towards the front of the room. We've got some space between our ears and our shoulders. Our hips are hinged, really tailbone up towards the ground. Squeeze our knees caps up to engage our quads. Release our heels down towards the earth. Toes nice and relaxed. So much to do here. Inhale, our left leg's gonna go up towards the ceiling. Exhale, left leg's gonna step forward to the front of the mat for a low lunge again. So our right knee will find the earth, right toes untuck. We're gonna hook our thumbs again up for that lunge we've done. And then from here, we're gonna open up our arms in a circle till they come out to a T position by our sides, palm facing the ceiling. Such a triumphant back bend pose. Maybe gazing up towards the ceiling or towards where the wall meets the ceiling if up overhead isn't the right choice for you today. Sinking our hips down a little lower into this lunge. From here, we're going to do sort of a cartwheel. So our left hand's gonna reach up towards the ceiling and the right hand's gonna find the floor. Yes. Oh, I love it when you all move in unison. Great work here. Let's really stack one shoulder on top of the other. Oof. Gazing up towards our left thumb. Maybe close your left eye. See if you can see your left thumb with your right eye all the way up there. Great. And exhale, we'll lower our left hand down to frame our foot, tuck our back toes under, shoot ourselves forward to a forward fold at the front of the mat. Let's toe heel our big toes together to touch if they're not already there. And then inhale, arms circle wide all the way up to up overhead. Exhale, hands reaching towards the ceiling. Inhale, a little baby back bend here up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, forward fold and hands circle down to the earth. Inhale, palms find the shins or thighs, flat back, lift and lengthen. Exhale, palms find the earth. Our left leg's gonna step back. Our left knee will find the earth. Our left toes will untuck. We'll hook our thumbs, reach them up for our low crescent lunge. And then cracking our heart open, silly yoga words, our arms will open wide to a T position, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Trying to release anything you're holding in your right hip, seeing if your pelvis can sink a little bit lower towards the earth here. Anytime you're doing a back bend, gazing at the ceiling, making sure your jaw's nice and relaxed. I don't need any clenched jaws here. And on an exhale, our left hand will find the earth and our right arm's going to reach up towards the sky for a little spinal twist in our lunge here. Inhale, reach up, and then exhale, right hand finds the earth. We'll retuck our back toes, lifting our back knee, sending our front foot back to meet our back, and then finding our way to downward facing dog, maybe flowing through a vinyasa or heading straight there. Inhale here, and exhale. Inhale our right leg high to the sky. Exhale, our right leg steps forward to a lunge, and we're gonna do a high lunge this time, so I'm gonna keep my back knee off the ground. If you wanna put it on the ground, that's always an option for you. We'll inhale both arms up overhead for a high lunge, and then opening our arms wide like a T, we're gonna swim them all the way behind us and try to interlace our hands behind our back. If that's not available, like holding your hands some way back there or holding the back of your shirt, or just reaching your palms towards each other like you're gonna clap behind your back is a fine option here. Wherever you are in this high lunge, we're really activating our back leg, squeezing that back kneecap up, sinking our pelvis down, trying to come to a 90-degree angle with our front foot. Oh, a little back bend again, maybe gazing up towards the ceiling. So good. Inhale here and exhale. Our hands are gonna come down and frame our front foot. Our back toe is gonna step forward for a forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale, circle your arms up all the way up to a standing pose, reaching towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold, arms circle all the way down. Inhale, hands find chin, flat back, lift and lengthen. Exhales, hands find the earth. Our right leg steps back, right knee stays lifted for a high lunge on this side. So our arms will reach up towards the ceiling. Yes, you're all with me. And then from here, we'll open our arms out wide like a T, palm towards the ceiling, and then swim our arms behind us, maybe interlacing them, or just going towards that high five behind our back. If you like to pay attention to these things, you could certainly switch the interlacing of your hands, trying to have the opposite pinky on top. Doesn't matter that much, but sometimes it feels good to watch the details you have control over. Inhaling here, exhaling, sinking just a little bit deeper into our lunge, really actively pushing through our back heel. One more inhale, and then on an exhale, both hands will frame your front foot. We'll send our left leg back to meet our right in the top of a push-up, flowing through a vinyasa, or finding ourselves in downward facing dog. From downward dog, we're going to move to a dolphin downward dog, which is just on our forearms. So you can try to just lower your elbows to the ground so that you are resting on your forearms with your butt up high. Sometimes that's a lot harder than it sounds, to find the space for your head so you're not banging your head on the ground. So really pushing into our forearms, strong shoulders, trying to keep that upside down V action. We'll hang out in this dolphin for 2 more breaths, but you can always return back to regular downward dog. All right, pushing into our hands, we'll come back to a downward facing dog. This time our left leg's gonna reach high to the sky, and exhale, bring it forward to a lunge. We're gonna again do a high lunge so our back knee stays lifted. Our arms are swooping up towards the ceiling. From here, we're gonna come to warrior one. So for warrior one, our back heel finds the earth. Our back foot's kind of at like a 45-degree angle. And then warrior one is the one where your pelvis is pointing towards the front of the mat. So you know that headlight thing we like to talk about, like there's two headlights shining out of the front of your pelvis. We wanna try to get them both to shine forward, which is sort of a challenge with the back heel down. So moving towards that position is where we wanna be. Really pushing into the outside edge of our back foot, engaging the front of our back leg, still sinking nice and low in the front knee. Inhale here. Exhale, we're gonna try to keep our front knee at its deep bend and bring the back leg in to find chair pose. If that doesn't work for you, you can certainly just stand up where you are and walk your back foot in and then sink back down into chair pose. But we're at chair pose in the front of our mat. Squeezing our biceps back past our ears, butt sinking nice and low behind our knees. Really lots of back bend, lots of legs. Here we are. From here, we'll stand up, reaching towards the ceiling, giving our arms a little bit of, or our legs a little bit of a break. And then exhale, sitting right back down into our chair pose. Our weight's gonna go into our right foot, and our left foot's gonna step back to find that high lunge, or however you wanna get back into your high lunge position. And then we'll move to warrior two on this side. So our left heel will find the earth, and then our pelvis will try to twist back towards the front of the mat. So good. Such peaceful warriors. Inhale, gazing up at the ceiling. Exhale, both arms come down to frame the front foot. Our front foot will go back to meet our back for a high plank. We'll flow through a vinyasa, finding ourselves in downward facing dog. From here, we're going to come back to the top of a high plank push-up. We're going to lower knees, chest and chin to the earth, and then flatten our tummy down so we're laying regularly on our stomach. Bringing our forearms out in front of us for that Sphinx pose like we did earlier, finding space in our shoulders. And then from here, we're gonna try to come into that dolphin down dog that we did earlier. So keeping our forearms on the ground, tucking our toes, hips will come up high or towards up high, whatever that is for you. So a forearm down dog. You can try walking your feet in a little bit closer than a normal down dog, maybe playing with lifting one leg or the other off the ground. If you have a forearm balance stand in the middle of the room, amazing, I wanna see it on Instagram sometime, but only do it if you feel really safe here. All right, wherever you are, we'll walk ourselves back into a regular down dog. So pushing your elbows off the ground, hips up high, upside down V. We'll lower our knees to the floor, our butts back towards our hips, coming into a little child's pose for a second while I have a sip of water. All right, inhaling up to all fours. We'll curl our toes under, butts up high, downward facing dog. Inhale here, exhale. Inhale our right leg high to the sky, exhale right leg forward and between the hands for a lunge, a low lunge this time, so our left knee will find the earth. Our left toes are gonna unflip. And then we're gonna try to do a quad stretch here. So we'll try to bend that back left leg. I like to really think about having my weight more on my thigh than on my knee. That helps us feel a little bit better. And then from here, we're going to reach back and grab that foot, or think about grabbing it. There's a variety of ways to be in a lunge quad stretch. So if you want to have hands on the earth or resting on your front knee, sometimes just grabbing your pants leg is like an accessible place to get back there, or wherever you want to grab, some variation of this. If you've got an easy hold of your foot, let's think about sinking our hips down forward. So we're more in a lungy lunge in our quad stretch. Inhaling, we can release the hold of our back leg, let that toe come back down to the earth. We'll frame our front foot with an exhale. Inhale, tuck those back toes under. Exhale, shoot forward to a forward fold at the front of the mat. We're gonna do a little bit more active of a forward fold here. So if you wanna grab the back of your calves and pull yourself forward, that's an option. If you like the two peace fingers kind of sticking between your big toe and second toe to wrench is a gross word, but pull yourself forward. Or you can Padahastasana, sending the back of your hands to the earth and then stepping on your palms. Anything that gives you a little bit of leverage. Also, hands behind the thighs is an option too, depending on your body geometry. Wherever you are, we're doing nothing with your head or neck, so make sure that the top of your head is hanging really loose. A little nod yes or no can make sure there's no extra tension in there. Wherever you are, thinking about rocking weight a little bit more towards the balls of your feet. Not so much that you knock over, but just changing where the pressure is in this pose a little bit. Remembering to inhale and exhale all the time, even when I'm not cueing it. And whatever hold you have on your body, we'll let that go so our arms dangle. A gentle bend in our knee. We're gonna roll all the way up to standing. Oh, let the blood roll out of our head that pooled in there. Inhale our arms up overhead, reach towards the ceiling. Our right hand's gonna grab our left wrist, and we're just gonna do a little standing side bend. So pulling ourselves over. And then inhaling back up to center. Switch the grasp of the wrists and pull yourselves over to the other side. And inhaling back up to center. We'll swan dive, arms circle wide, exhaling forward fold all the way down to that forward hanging fold. Flat back, lift and lengthen our palms, find our shins or our thighs, or stay on the ground. Exhale, forward fold, palms find the earth, and this time our right leg's gonna step back for that quad stretch. So the right knee finds the earth, the right toes untuck, and then we bend that right knee. Maybe that's where you hang out, or maybe we reach back. I think we mainly did the same arm, so probably the right arm's gonna reach back and grab that foot, but whatever works for you, we're in our poses today is fine. Thinking about sinking our pelvis towards the earth. Nice deep lunge with this quad stretch here. Inhale, release our foot back down to the earth. Exhale, our palms will frame our front foot. Curl those back toes under. Shoot your left leg back for a top of a push-up. Flow through some vinyasa of your choosing. Find yourself in downward facing dog. Inhale, nice and strong here. Exhale, pushing into your palms. Hips go high towards the sky. Inhale, spinning your elbow pits forward to the front of your mat. Exhale, sinking your face, your heart a little bit closer towards the earth. And as you're ready, we'll lower ourselves onto our shins and sit back onto our heels, untucking your toes. Finding a moment of stillness. Well, I'm going to talk to you about camel pose, so you can watch what I'm doing, and then it's your chance. If you want to drink a little water or do anything else, that's fine too. So we're going to do a back bend, which is so weird to do virally or over the internet, but I trust you. We'll go nice and gentle. So camel is an upper back bend or a mid back bend. We start on our shins, and there's often a tendency to like let your hips, your knees do the work. So we're not bending at our knees because that's not actually a back bend. So I'm gonna have us cued to really be pushing our hips forward and thinking about the back bend coming from our upper mid back. We'll do it a couple times. So we'll start with keeping our hands, pushing our hips forward. And then the next time I'll cue for lowering your hands down to your heels. If that's something you can do with both hands moving in unison, let's do it. But if you have to like kind of dance down to find your heels, I don't want you tweaking your back while you're shut in your house alone. So we'll stay in an upright camel if that's where you're at today, and that's fine. So we'll do two. If camel like stresses you out too much, feel free to just child's pose or do some other back bend that's more your speed. All right, hey, let's do it. So rise up to standing on your knees, kneeling, high kneeling. I like to tuck both toes under for a little extra kickstand support. You do you. We'll take our palms and stick them in our imaginary back pockets. So our fingers pointing down, palms pushing into the top of our bum, squeezing our shoulder blades together. We'll gaze at the wall right in front of us. And then inhaling, gaze will go up towards where the wall meets the ceiling. Exhaling all the way up to the ceiling overhead, really actively squeezing shoulder blades together, pushing your palms into your butt so that your hips stay over your knees. If you got range of motion here with a nice relaxed jaw, you're welcome to bring your gaze a little bit farther behind you or keeping it right up overhead. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths, but you're always welcome to come out of this at whatever point feels necessary for you. And inhaling, we'll come up to upright. Exhale, we'll sit down on our heels for a little pause between our second go, just because sometimes your equilibrium needs a second to readjust before we try that again. So a couple breaths, reminding yourself you're safe, even if the heart opener is not what your heart is ready for today. And our next final attempt, we'll inhale back up to our high kneeling position. You can have your toes tucked or untucked. We'll start with our palms on our butts again, pushing into our imaginary back pockets, squeezing shoulder blades together. Inhaling, gaze goes up to the ceiling overhead. Exhale, a little back bend. If you feel like you want to let go of your hips and let your hands find your heels, feel free to try that variation or stay where you're at. Either way, a nice relaxed jaw, some space in your neck and shoulders, squeezing shoulder blades together behind you, trying to keep your upper legs perpendicular to the earth. One more big inhale here. Exhale. Inhale, rise to upright. Exhale, sit back down on our heels. We'll find child's pose. Arms can reach out forward in front of us. Our forehead comes towards the earth. Good work, y'all. Couple moments in child's pose as we adjust. Inhaling, we'll walk ourselves up back to kneeling position. We're gonna do a saddle or saddle variation here. So we're gonna keep ourselves in a kneeling position with our legs zipped pretty close together. So we don't want them to like widen out, but stay together. And then we're gonna try to lay backwards. Probably not go all the way unless that's in your wheelhouse today. But we'll walk our hands behind us, again, squeezing our shoulder blades together, maybe trying to tuck your tailbone a little bit. And then you can walk your hands farther out or lower down until the point that you feel a quad stretch happening. If you've got lots of yoga props, you can certainly put some blocks or pillows or a couch pillow underneath you behind you if there's room to come down onto your forearms or onto a pile of things, while keeping our legs parallel together. So again, not letting your knees scoot too far out to the side. A little squeeze in your glutes can help make sure that your low back stays safe, making sure you're tucking your tailbone underneath, trying to come with a nice, like you're just standing, nice straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Oof. And inhaling, we'll walk ourselves up to upright. Exhale, we'll come forward to all fours. Curl our toes under, hips up high, stretching out our legs in downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling alternating heels down to the earth like we did earlier. Inhaling forward to high plank, top of a push-up. Exhale, knees, chest, chin come down to the earth. And then flatten ourselves out onto our stomachs. Untuck our toes. We're gonna roll over onto our back, however you wanna get there. And let's hug our knees into our chest. Give them a nice squeeze. Rock side to side here. Find stillness, whatever feels good to you. We'll come to happy baby, so arms come in between your legs and then grab your shins or your calves or behind your knees or the inside or outside of your feet, or maybe hold your big toes with that yogi toe lock. And again, we can rock side to side or find stillness here, pulling our legs down towards the earth so our knees are coming towards our armpits, towards the ground. And then letting go of our hold, we'll hug our knees into our chest again, and then letting the soles of our feet find the earth, knees reach up towards the ceiling. Let's walk our heels as close as we can get them. So maybe your fingertips can touch your toes. I've got really short arms, so mine aren't quite there. Depends on how your body works. And then we're having our feet in line with our hips, with our pelvis. From here, we're gonna come to a bridge pose. So we'll push into our heels, tucking our hips, raising our pelvis off the earth in a bridge. If you've got room, we can interlace our hands on the earth underneath our hips, squeezing our palms together, arms nice and long underneath us, maybe pulling our shoulder blades together underneath our back so we've got a little bit more arch. Squeezing our glutes so our hips lift nice and high. Our knees track together or over our big toes, not opening up to the sides, just like in that saddle pose. Hanging out here, nice strong bridges. If our hands are interlaced, we'll release our hands to the side and exhaling, lowering our hips down towards the earth for a little pause. We're gonna do that one again. It's so good. And we've been working towards a nice open back bend. So again, pressing into our heels, squeezing our glutes off the earth, not knitting our shoulder blades together behind us, maybe interlacing opposite pinky on bottom, your hands if they reach underneath your butt. Arms nice and straight, palms squeezed together, hips really actively pushing towards the ceiling, legs squeezing towards each other. If you have like a yoga block, sometimes it's fun to squeeze that between your knees as a way to make sure that you're being honest in your knees tracking together. Just if you want to do this later today on your own. One more squeeze here, and then exhale, we'll release our hands, lower our hips down towards the earth. Moment of stillness. We can do a bridge variation again, whatever worked for you in that, or we can do full wheel. So for full wheel, our palms will find the earth by our ears, elbows tracking towards the ceiling, fingers pointing towards our torso. And we'll press into our palms, press into our heels, tuck our tailbone under, lift our pelvis up high. You can certainly come to the top of your head and then all the way up, or just push all the way up into a full wheel, still squeezing our knees together, or whatever bridge variation is your choosing here. Nice, strong, active legs, active arms, whether they're squeezed underneath you or pressing into your wheel. We'll hang out here for a while. Always welcome to come down if this is too long or not working for your body today. Gently bending our arms, we'll lower our head and shoulders down to the earth and our hips all the way down from whatever position you were in. Finding stillness. Let's hug our knees into our chest again. Oh, nice work. Rocking side to side. Next time both knees are over to the right side of our body, we'll let them fall all the way to the right side, and our left arm will reach out over our left shoulder for a spinal twist. Inhaling up towards the ceiling, our legs will cross through center and over to the opposite side, twisting the other direction. And inhale, gaze back up overhead. Our knees come back to center. Give them another little squeeze. If there's anything else your body really wants to do right now, if you want another happy baby, if you want a shoulder stand, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, we'll find our way to our final resting pose. So you can definitely do a traditional Shavasana, legs out long. With all of that back bendy stuff, I find legs up the wall to be aces. I don't know what that means. So if you have a wall in your house that you can get to without too much effort, you're welcome to legs up the wall there, or to just stack your heels on a chair or something so that your legs are a little bit above your torso for our final resting pose. Yeah, get cozy. If you're someone who gets cold and you want to put your socks on, that's great. If you want to tuck your shoulder blades underneath wherever you are. Or if you want to dip out early and get ready for your 1 o'clock call, I won't be offended. Otherwise, we'll just stay here for a couple breaths, letting our body take in all of those back bends, all that quad stuff, all those planks. Deepening our inhales and exhales, seeing if you can notice your stomach rising and falling with each breath. Bringing a little more active movement into our body, maybe nodding your head side to side or wiggling your fingers or your toes. As you're ready, we'll gently make our way to seated, whether that's rolling over to one side if you're laying long or letting your legs come off the wall, hugging them into your chest. Some sort of gentle way to get out of our final rest, pushing ourselves to upright.